So on our website, this lab is complete. We've taken a quick look at the content of it. Our next lab today is going to be lab 2. This generally refers to chapter 12. In fact, we're going to execute a series of chapter 12 exercises, like basically like, chapter examples. You know how I always encouraged you to read chapter of the book and try every possible example out of the book in your own program and tweak it and play with it, make it do something for you. Try different coding with it. Similarly, starting with graphics programming, we need a similar approach. So the environment of these labs, like pre-configured projects with just ready-to-go source files where you can start writing your own code, is the same idea. So we have a lot of demos here to try. So again, this is obviously is something that should give you a pretty decent platform to have a project where you can just like copy and paste anything you like from the textbook. I mean, like not copy and paste, basically just essentially try examples out of the textbook and see if everything works and try to tweak it the way you like. And that's the idea. So let's go through this lab. Same configuration. I'm repeating like the steps and descriptions from the prior lab, but if you look at the lab subfolder, we don't really need to download anything. The second lab over here is already pre-configured and there is a project. So all we need to do is just start using the project, which already is in place. So I'll skip over to the example, right? So we start with this second solution file. So let's open the second lab. This is going to be our next lab today. And once again, it offers to upgrade to the latest version of the compiler, which is fine, right? So you see that my upgrades are completed, very fine. And these are the source files that we're having in this lab. Let's build this. We do have some warnings from the compiler, but these are beyond my control because these are the files that came with the textbook. I didn't care much about fixing these, but as long as these are not the files that I'm creating, I am right now just ignoring the files. So this is just something that right now we just have to accept as a possibility of getting some warning messages when we build it. But we'll just keep an eye on our own code, and there could be like time that we can discuss issues with the warnings. In real life, it's probably not the very best idea to ignore the warnings. Like I prefer to keep my warnings just like non-existent. I don't like any warnings in my projects. You have to pay close attention to what the warning message says and why it's there, and some of them are okay, but some of them can be very, very dangerous. Yeah, it's a different story. Anyways, I just built this. Let me run it since it was able to build, and this is how it looks like right now. So it's also using the console window if we need to like debug anything. So I continue using the console window here. But this is the view of the first fresh project, and you see that it's creating a triangle here, and when you click the next button, it just disappears because there's nothing next inside this lab. Well, anyways, let's take a look at the project organization. Okay, so inside here we have a source subfolder, and under source subfolder we have main GUI, which is our own file, the file that is doing something. But um, just like we used to have standard library facilities, so I try to like do like follow very closely examples from the book in this lab to give you like solid foundation to try everything you can possibly try from this chapter. And so the standard library facilities are back on our list. And you see that I keep everything under book subfolder. So the files that came with the book I keep under book, and you see that inside the project there's a book subfolder with some files over here. So these files are I downloaded from the textbook website, and I actually had to tweak a couple of things to be able to compile safely with like multiple include directives. But anyway, this is like 99.9% the version that came with the book. And our own files are just going to be here in the source subfolder, just the usual way. Right now, there's just like this main GUI file, which is right here. And the book facilities for various shapes, various features such as like displaying images or drawing some like mathematical curves, different examples. They all come from the graphlib. The graphlib is the namespace that is used internally by these header files. So, I just noticed that I do it twice. So you can, I say using namespace graphlib twice here. So it's probably just done by mistake, but sometimes because I don't like having using namespace declaration in the global space here, I just sometimes just keep it to a single function like this. Anyway, it can be used in anywhere, like in any scope, just like this is fine. So we need to have a bit of a conversation about this, but this is the general organization of this first lab and possibly a few more labs which we will try to work on this semester. Okay, so just jumping back to the lab. So graphical user interface display model is demonstrated here, and this is what the book is discussing, is that the approach of building graphical user interface display, the approach to assemble individual gadgets or features which become visible. The first chapter on graphics, which is chapter 12, is discussing that you can have this simple window, right? So I am going to run it again to show you. So this here is my simple window over here, and this is the simple window right here. And in order to be able to make things visible and start using things in this environment, we first create a simple window. Then we choose graphical primitives. or objects or gadgets, whatever you name them, something that can make itself visible in the space. Okay. And the first approach is that we need to attach these objects themselves. They are objects. We need to first attach these objects to the window. And then when we're ready to display everything, we just expect that the simple window will receive a draw call from the graphical user interface. So this box right here represents FLTK library that we were able to build, download, build, and update it within our own project. So at some point, this graphical user interface library makes a call into our simple window and says draw. And simple window will say, oh, I have this polygon to draw. So this polygon is actually is like 3 vertices here. So it draws the triangle on the screen. And so it will be drawn. So this is the organization. Now look, so this is the approach, and this is our simple window. And first we say point T1. This is like top left corner of our window. So we specify now. Remember, once again, if we're doing this, let me just open my whiteboard here. Okay. So this window right here, if I could, if I could take a print screen of it, would be nice. But I'll just like try to use my own drawing of it. Right, so we have this window right here that is like roughly this color, and we have this triangle there. I'll try my options. Okay, so we have some kind of triangle over here, and we have the caption. So this this window, right? So this is our window. In fact, it's called simple window. Let's use that. Simple window is the type of the window that we're using right here. So it lives inside the screen space of my screen. So I have my screen. So let me draw the axis here, and in 2D graphics in general, okay. So this is the origin of the system of the coordinates. So basically this location is like the coordinates of this top left location is x is 0 and y is also 0. And in 2D graphics, the coordinates go this way. Okay, so this is the x coordinate, positive direction of the x, and this is positive direction of y. Okay, so this is x and y, x coordinates, and these are the y coordinates right here. And the arrows, the axis indicate the direction in which the positive coordinates are going. So, but it's possible, you can see that it is possible actually to take the window and push it outside of the screen real estate, like in different directions. So it's possible to have this window, right, like move it around. So it's possible to move this window in the negative spaces of the coordinates. So not just the positive spaces are possible to have, but negative spaces are possible also, like negative coordinates of part of this window. Then the window is simply like this window will be simply clipped like this, right? So the window will be clipped, so part of it will not be visible. All right, so this is the idea. But so this is the system of coordinates that we're using in 2D graphics anyways, right? In 3D graphics, the rules change somewhat, and the units of measurements in 2D graphics are like, you can use your own units. But here, the units that we use, all these numbers, 100, 100, represent pixels. So location 100, like point T1, look, I think it's TL actually, top left, TL. 100 will be located exactly where we want our window to be positioned, right? So this 100, 100, 100 originally is where we position our window. And if I just move it like slightly to the left, right here, so this is this specific location right here, right here, this location over here is something that is we construct as 100 point, which has 100 100 coordinate. And then we use this top left location to specify the origin of our window. Okay, so when the window is displayed, it is actually first time displayed, starting, with its top left location in at this place on the screen. And 600, 400 specify the width and height of the window. And of course, we have the canvas, which is this title, which is displayed on the title bar. Generally speaking of windows, normally when you construct windows with the graphics library, you construct a frame and you populate frame with the content. So that approach essentially allows you to specify the content inside the frame. And frame has its own responsibilities to minimize, maximize, provide the title, provide this drop-down menu, which is pretty standard for all applications inside your operating system. And the inside is like a viewport, which you can use to display the information inside. But this is the basic setup. And the idea of this simple window is such that it will display whatever we attached to this simple window as a container, and it will display everything. But it also offers this free next button, and so when we click next, we go to the next. It just, the button waits for something to happen, like click. And when we click it, we can display more stuff on the window, or if nothing else available, the window simply disappears. So this is when we say wait for the button. This is offered by this simple window so that we can start making some exercises. Of course, later on, you don't want this simple window. You just want a window without any buttons, and simply something that you can use as a window for your application to display, business form, or maybe like a viewport for your 3D graphics or whatever you are using it for.